Alright, so right now with the current story of My Hero Academia, we have seen some crazy events recently that are sure to shift the furtherance of this series forever. You guys already know that over here on Plot Armor, we get hype, we go in depth, and always have that quality content, so if you're interested in seeing more from us, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're an anime only and want to remain spoiler free, I assure you this is not the video for you, as we are about to delve into some pretty crazy manga content. But with that, let us begin. So a major cause for concern for us, besides the major blow to Bakugo fans everywhere that we talked about in the last video, would have to be the current state of Deku's body. Deku, who has at this point taken upon himself to stop the proceedings of Shigaraki, has been pushed well beyond his bodily limitations to do so. Plus Ultra has nothing on this kid because despite a doctor's prior warning that he may lose use of his arms permanently as a result of doing so, this man just does not care. When it comes down to it, in situations like this, heroism flows through Deku's veins more than heroin does in a drug addict. If it means stopping Shigaraki, he is more than willing to sacrifice himself. And with that in mind, he to me has only further proven himself to be a worthy possessor of One for All. But even still, if he's to lose usage of his arms following this transgression, what does that mean for his use of the power? Well, it's pretty bad. I mean, duh, but like, even with the fact that he majorly depends on the usage of his legs to fight these days, there's not a single fight in which he neglects the use of his arms. I mean, he had a whole support item fashioned for the propulsion of air from his fists. Taking this away from him is a major loss in power and potential. Mind you, his body was still in the process of becoming acclimated to the full extent of the power. Throwing even the simplest of punches he's capable of today would have surely blown him up had he attempted to do so earlier on. And the way I see things, this is something that has been alluded to for so long that it pretty much was an inevitability. So much so that we kind of need to see the state of things when in such a position. Which leads me to believe that Deku will be like this for some time, and it won't be an expeditious recovery. Going back to our Greek mythology mega theory once again, which let me remind you, continually proves itself to be true, this could very well be what is taken from him as opposed to the quirk One for All itself. It was said that Zeus had his tendons severed as a result of his clash with the mighty Typhon. And so if we are to continue following this concept, it looks like Eri will be our savior. The heroes have suffered many substantial injuries over the course of this conflict, including Hawks, and it would seem Eri alone possesses the power to reverse this, effectively making her the Dragon Balls of the My Hero story. And you know, although just before this all began, Eraserhead began training her to properly control her quirk, we have to remember that she's still just a little kid with a highly volatile quirk. It's uncertain if she'll be able to accomplish such a thing anytime soon, but we'd be remiss not to consider it a possibility. Alternatively, the case of Deku's next quirk to come is still quite the mystery. We don't exactly know from whom it'll be from, although All Might may, as he somehow knew Float would be next up, despite the chronological contradiction with Black Whip being from the 5th user and Float being from the 7th user Shimura Nana. Nothing is known about the 2nd and 3rd users, even despite All Might's digging. The 4th is potentially a dangerous guy and or power at this point. And the quirk of the 6th user is known to Bakugo, Midoriya, and All Might even if we don't, but wasn't regarded as anything particularly special or interesting. So the deck is pretty much stacked with wild cards. And if you're expecting one of these quirks to pop off now, I can't blame you. It would definitely be exciting and hype, but I'd argue that seeing as we're only just seeing Float in action now, it would probably be a bit jarring narratively to throw out yet another power right now. Even along the lines of a crazy reaction to Bakugo's current state, I just can't see it. But what I can see is that Deku isn't the only one struggling with the usage of his power right now, as Shigaraki is having a very similar issue on his end. His body is just having way too much trouble maintaining itself on account of its incomplete state. And furthermore, The fact that All For One has seized control over Shigaraki's body is incredible, if not incredibly scary. Shigaraki, while being pummeled by Deku, was attempting to find a quirk suitable to deal with such a situation, but just couldn't do so. Which is to say that he just doesn't have enough experience with the power to shift to the most optimal approach to combat such an overwhelming force. All For One, on the other hand, is quite the methodical strategist who certainly knows the inner workings of his own power quite well. Not only that, but he's faced the power of One For All on more than one occasion, so he's definitely prepared to face a noob like Deku. But be that as it may, Shigaraki's body is still in a horrendous state. Sure, he has regeneration, but fixing a cut was difficult enough for him. Endeavor's final attack, even if not fatal, did substantial damage to Shigaraki's body inside and out, and so he's incredibly vulnerable right now. Vulnerable to the point where All For One, despite Shigaraki's prior objection and rejection, was forced to intervene. But make no mistake, the story as we know it revolves around the conflict of these two, and so a degree of recovery is almost certainly guaranteed, and that's on Plot Armor. And listen, we've definitely been referencing Naruto a whole lot lately with these videos, but Horikoshi himself is a huge Naruto fan, so it is what it is. Back when Naruto pulled up with the Rasen Shuriken, Tsunade told that man never to do it again, as he would, get this, mess up his arms. To overcome this, he added Senjutsu to the technique, and was from then on able to throw them things like it's nothing. So yeah, maybe a new power is all Deku needs to salvage things. Otherwise, if we take away the element of a miraculous means of healing, we're left with an injury that's reminiscent of the one that took All Might out of commission. Unfortunately, Deku has yet to make his heroic debut and or become a proper symbol for society in the slightest, but I guess it is what it is. And let us not forget that this man is still a high school freshman. He's not even completely independent just yet. Imagine his mom's reaction to all this. She was already prepared to have him leave UA on account of the league's proceedings, but ultimately left her son in All Might's hands. Only for my mans to lose his hands. Like what? And all because of this potentially cursed power that her son got from eating this man's hair. Oh no, no, no. It'll be a miracle if she lets him outside the house after all this. And after hearing all this, I'm curious what you guys may be thinking. How do you think Deku will manage without the use of his arms? Or alternatively, how do you think he'll go about getting them fixed? Let us know down below. And if you want to take things a step further, you can go ahead and follow me on my various socials to further the conversation. And you already know the drill. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, be sure to subscribe to the channel, because when it comes to bringing you some of the best My Hero Academia content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I am Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.